Hi guys, it's Alicia here with My Work Basket, and today I have to show you my third week cards from the card a day in June. I'll get those kind of stacked up to show you. I use the CaliArt brand alcohol markers, and I used those on pretty much every single card this week. I did make a little chart of the exact colors I used. At the end of the week, I'm going to post this chart on my Instagram. It'll be like a swipe photo for the last card of the week. I did this because I really liked these colors. I have a much larger set of colors than these, and these were the ones I actually pulled out. I kept them in a variety of like paper scraps in a box, and I wanted to be able to pull them out quickly if I want to use them again, because I just really loved these colors and exactly how they looked. Like, I can picture myself grabbing these colors again and again and again. And so I made a little chart to be handy for myself also. The cards that I'm going to show today are probably in a completely different order than they were on Instagram, because I just don't remember how I did them on Instagram. This is the first week where I did not finish all of my cards on the weekend. I've been doing where I sit down on the weekend, I make all my cards for the week, and then I take pictures, I record this video, and then I just upload throughout the week the different pictures. This week, I ran out of time to do that, so I actually sat down Tuesday, and while my son was doing school, I was working on finishing the last couple of cards for my week. And then today is Thursday, and now I'm finally getting the time to record this for you and talk to you about it. I'm super excited because our last day of school for the school year was yesterday. So over the summer, the schoolroom becomes a lot more of a craft room and a little bit less of a homeschool room. And so I get to work a lot more. You know, my days are a little bit more my own instead of that, and like the space is a little bit more my own. So I'm super excited about that. So this was just the color chart, and again, I'll post this on Instagram too. I'm trying to decide, I probably need to start doing kind of some show notes on my website, and you know, maybe this will be the first thing I do over there. I do have a website, myworkbasket.com, and it's kind of on hiatus while I decide just kind of what my approach is and what I want to be there. And also I need to redo a lot of it. I tend to be very like, hey, I'm doing this right now. I'm not super thought out. I don't put tons of work into editing. I just want to get the stuff out there. And it tends to take up a lot of space on a blog when you do it that way. Like, all your photos, if they're not edited down, it just gets huge. And so I have so much editing from previous stuff that I need to do. And so my website just kind of, it got overwhelming to me. And like, the idea of doing tech instead of crafting is not my thing. So I need to figure that out. But maybe I'll drop this over in the show notes with some pictures of this week's cards also. So this one is just a little mini card. A lot of my elements this week have little pop-ups. So the butterfly is a little pop-up. And I did 3. I actually originally stamped just all of my stamps for the week on some sheets of paper. And these 3 just happened to be lined up very well. And I was like, you know what, I'm just color those in order and do them on a little note card. So this is just a tiny little plain enclosure card. I just colored my stamps, cut it out. There's a little bit of black paper behind it, both torn, and then my butterfly that I kind of tore around and colored and glued on there. This one, I think, was Sunday's card. I'm pretty sure this is the first one I posted. My little flower does pop up a little bit. For my pop-ups, I actually just use craft foam cut down to shape. I don't usually buy the special like 3D pop-up foam. It would be way faster if I did, but honestly, because I just do every craft known to man, I tend to utilize different things instead of just investing in one thing, honestly. So like pop-up tape would be great for paper crafting, but it's less useful for other crafts. So I just kind of space out my budget a bit and buy and make do. That was just a plain note card inside. Most of the cards that I make are plain because I tend to do where I just make a bunch of cards and then in theory send them. Honestly, I'm terrible about sending mail and sending stuff out, so there's a lot less of sending than there is of making. But I usually make them blank, and then either I can stamp a sentiment on it or in it, or just write a card, write a note. Honestly, I'm very likely to send a belated card anyway, so this way I can just put, you know, a note inside saying, hey, sorry, I forgot, you know, everything. People who know me shouldn't be surprised by that because that's just part of who I am. This card, honestly, I'm not a fan. This card is just proof that they can't all be winners. I did all of my coloring here. And then I was left with these swirls at the bottom and these swirls at the top, and I couldn't figure out what color to make them. I was like, I kind of wanted to do these in blue, but then I was like, but why would they be blue? And it's like almost too much blue to do them in blue. And the bottom ones, it was the same thing. I was like, I'm afraid it'll be too much green if I do them in green. So finally I opted to just do the bottom in green, and I did the top with grays, kind of like clouds in the sky, but it really doesn't show. Like it just kind of all blended together. It looks kind of boring up here. And I thought about cutting this out and making it just kind of shaped at the top, and I just kind of went for it. And then I also added some foil down here. I used a super fine glue tip on this Best Glue Ever. I have a full collaboration and like how-to video coming out for this in honestly a couple of weeks. It comes out really soon. So I've been playing with this glue on a lot of my projects. It's been used on all of these cards. And I used the super fine craft tip to draw and do that foil. So it is a super, super, super fine tip. You can actually also use this on rubber stamps, and that's what I should have done to get a better image. I just kind of doodled it, and then I think I kind of gave in. I was like, you know what? I already don't particularly like it, and I just didn't necessarily do the best option for what would have worked right there. But it has a nice purple foil. I've actually never worked with foil until very recently, and I like it. Unfortunately, the two pieces I have are both pink, which is not my usual colorway, and I am in my summer of stash. So foil might be one of the first things I buy when I can buy craft things again, because I just really liked it and I'm having fun working with it. And I think it would have been fun even like to do, like if I had done green foil on some of these leaf stems. Picture how beautiful and amazing that would have been. And again, that's just another blank card. Let me see if I can show you. All of the stamps that I used this week are from an old set of stamps. I actually got these stamps several years ago, and I have bunches of them. There's others in the pile here. So these are all from like the same series from Hampton Art, but I have multiple sets, and there's some that I think fell out when I just grabbed these. So I have several of those, and I just stamped a bunch all matching at the same time and colored them in. Sorry, I dropped a bunch of stuff on the floor and was leaning back. So that's where these came from. I don't know if these stamps are still available. Anybody who does paper crafts, you know how they tend to switch out a lot, but they're Hampton Art stamps. I actually think I found these at Dollar Tree, believe it or not. And they're copyright 2016, so they are a bit older. But I just stamped out tons of them, and that's where I got my stamps for this week. So this one is a tiny gift card holder. It just has a little tiny pocket here. I didn't push my glue very well on the sides there. I was a little worried about how big to make it or not make it, so I kind of winged it, and I hope that a gift card fits inside. Originally, it was much longer, and I did a pink torn strip of paper all the way down. And then I was like, you know what? This would be kind of fun to turn it into a gift card holder. So I folded up the bottom, trimmed this end, and took that trimmed end that had the pink and added it here, just for a little extra punch of color inside. And you could also write here like a little note, because it's black, and I have white pens, but I'm not the most organized person, you guys. Like, I tend to just grab and go. So I always try to put something where I can grab any pen and it will show up. So I could put here, you know, for your birthday or for whatever, or thank you, or... And it has a little for you out here. This design is actually one of my favorites, although it did kind of end up with a lot of pink, and I was kind of... I feel like I personally was scrambling on how to color these and balance the colors, but I did really enjoy them. So this one is also a favorite for the week. I totally messed up my coloring on the balloons. I thought I grabbed a different color when I was doing this one. And so then I like did the opposite of what is normal. And so my colors are actually darker than the balloons instead of lighter, where you see the little reflection. But I liked this design, how it has just a little snap of purple here, and this little stamp. I colored around those with just a matching blue marker, so it's just not a stark white. And then this is so funny. I found this. It's toilet paper casting. So it is clean, fresh toilet paper. You wet it with water and you push it into a mold. And I did a bunch of them way back in, honestly, probably like the year 2000. Like it is. And recently I was cleaning up and I found a little bin of them and it got knocked over. Like you can see, here's a birdhouse. It got knocked over in my craft room because my son is kind of a mess. And so we've now had this little jar that I keep adding bits to. That's why there's foam in there. And so I found this little flower and I was like, oh, you know, that really kind of matches the same general style and general just vibe of the stamps. So I colored that in with the same markers and glued it down. So it's just got a little bit of texture there with that three-dimensional flower. And then again, it's just blank inside. And I have to say, I've really learned when making a bunch of cards, these pre-made patterned cards are my favorite thing in the world right now. They've helped me so much with this card a day challenge. And I seriously think they're going to kind of be my secret weapon where I'm just going to keep sets of these pre-done cards in stock. They weren't expensive. I got them at Michael's a while ago, and I want to say it was like $5 or $10 for a giant box of them with all different colors. And all of them this week, and I think last week too, are kind of in those. So it just saves from like having to buy patterned card stocks for the backgrounds, and they're perfect size, and they come with envelopes. And so for me, I was just kind of loving these. And they match kind of my favorite colorways that I use a lot. So I'm just really loving these pre-patterned cards. I think I'm going to always use them. Also this week, it kind of felt like cheating to stay on theme. I did a very similar thing last week where I printed one pattern pack and just like used it on all of that week's cards. And it really kind of felt like cheating to me, but it made things so nice. And it's so nice to have this matching little set that if I didn't use these individually, I could just as easily package these three, tie it with a ribbon and send it as a gift, and then even include a little enclosure card that matches with the gift. And so it was nice to just have these that immediately all go together. So it felt like cheating at first, but now doing it as, you know, doing a theme every week, it's like the way I'm going to go. Anytime I need to make a bunch, that's what I'm going to do from here on out. This card is so simple and cute, but it absolutely, like, I like it. Purple isn't really a colorway that I like. I'm not a purple fan, but it's just super, super sweet. And it totally takes me back to like the early days of stamping in like the early 90s. Well, not early 90s, the like mid to late 90s. This takes me back to what the cards looked like when I discovered paper crafts and started stamping and scrapbooking. And like this was what so many of them looked like. Even the patterned paper is like almost advanced for that time, but I just love it. So I stamped, this is the same flower stamp. It's such a different colorway from the other cards this week, but it is from the same set of stamps. It's from the same series. I just went with a more simple colorway. The markers are the same exact colors. You can see the greens are the same. And the purples didn't get used very much this week, but you can see here it's the same purples as I used on the lavender and grapes on this one card. So it totally is the same colorways. Another pre-printed card. And then all I did was I actually had this black oval scrap in my little scrap bin that I'm working on. And so I put the flower on that. And I was like, oh, it's a little bit too much. I wish the oval had a different shape. And so I remembered I had these. They were actually in my dollhouse stuff for miniatures because I thought it would make such a neat little rug or something. And so I pulled one of those out from my miniatures dollhouse stash and decided to use that on my card and put that as a background. So it's just this colored flower. Even the background is colored with a super, super, super light grayish blue. I cut it down to close to size, rounded the corners, and then just layered it up on these colored papers and things. And again, this was purchased with all these little holes already in it. It was from a stack of these. Hang on just a second. I'll grab them to show you. All right. So it was from a pack of these guys, which I clearly got at Tuesday morning. Who even knows when? Honestly, these have been in my stash probably for years. But I just grabbed one of these. This one probably would have been cute. I should have maybe tried that one. I went more so for size than for styling. But so that was where those are. And you can see they come already pre-punched. Sorry about that. I just knocked everything everywhere. Let me put those back away a little bit tidy. So yeah, so that one, I'm pretty sure this card got posted today. day because I swear I remember writing about it today. So this might have been Thursday's card. But it's just super simple and cute, and I like it, you know. And then I think I haven't shown this one yet. This one also has a little bit of 3D to it. Both of these leaves and this flower pop up. These were not part of the original set of the stamp. So the stamped image doesn't include this little flower. Leaves are in these same places. But what I did was where I stamped, this is just kind of a picture of it. When I stamped, I did a bunch of random ones like this. And I cut out those leaves and that flower and glued them on. So below this, there is an actual stamped image and colored image, if you can see that in there, of a leaf. And the same up here. I glued it on an existing part of the stamp. But this one, there is no little flower here on the actual stamp. I added that myself. And it just adds a little bit of pop-up. Those have little craft foam underneath, so they're 3-dimensional. Just those 3 little elements. And then I added a thing in here for you to be able to actually write a little note. And this is a little, I'm not actually sure the size of this. I think when I posted it on Instagram, I said it was about 3 by 5, and then I was maybe actually smaller than that. So it is 3 by about 4.5. It would have been 3 by 5, except for I tore the ends off for a little bit of texture down there. So that was another one that I did. I like these blue birds. Several years ago, I worked very similar birds into a lot of my arts and crafts, and then I kind of felt like they were everywhere and I stopped using them, but I do still love them so much. So I hope I showed all of this week's cards. They kind of got knocked around the table at one point, and so that's this for the 3rd week of a card a day in June. I can't believe I've stuck with this. June will be over before you know it, and I have done all of them. I don't think I've missed a day, and I'm super proud of it. I'm not one to really stick with big projects. I'm not one to stick with ongoing stuff. So I'm really proud that I just stuck with it. I think we have 1 week left, and then that's that. So now I've got a stack of great cards I can use and send, and there you go. I hope you enjoyed watching this. I thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day. I'd love to know if you participated in a card a day in January. Not January. A card a day in June. We are a long way from January, folks. I don't know where that came from. So if you participated in a card a day in June, I'd love to hear about it. If you liked any of these cards, I'd love to hear about it. Honestly, I'm a super chatty person, so I love to hear about just about anything. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Have a great day.